We got it. With notes.
What is a friend of the thing from? That's a thing I got from it's a Seinfeld thing.
A friend of the thing?
I'm not mad about this. I'm a friend of the thing.
I'm a friend of the.
Oh.
Yeah, they always do that. Like I like the thing.
It felt,
I'm a friend of the thing.
It felt like I got that from somewhere in my brain.
Yeah.
Of something.
Very Larry David dialogue.
I'm a friend of the thing.
Yeah. No thing. There's no thing. No thing. Yeah, exactly. All right. Sean and Bo will die on the Puss Hill, says Adhesive Wombat. All right, let's do the show.
Yes, please.
Jamie will use that for something. All right, here comes the show, everybody. Enjoy this as we play this, because it's time, everyone. So enjoy in 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Core. This is Core for February 3rd, 2022. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger, here to talk about the latest in video game news, views, and reviews. Hey, that all rhymed. Didn't mean it to. Well done. I'm congratulating myself. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a lot to talk about, and just wanted to tell folks at home that because today is episode 300, 100, it's pretty good. It's a bit of a milestone, and so there's two things happening. One, I am going to put our normally patron-only chunk of content out as a separate post in your normal audio feed, and I'll do that in a few days. I'll still give the patrons their early stuff, but in a few days, you'll get to hear that. Think of it as, like we talked about it before the show, like a free HBO weekend where you get this free little taste of things that you get if you're into our Patreon, and so I'm going to do that. Number two, we're going to put a commemorative either shirt, mug, or hat or something like it up on the store that will commemorate 300 episodes of Core. So info on that, watch for that coming soon, both to the show and probably our Twitter accounts, CorePod, the website, and all that sort of stuff. So keep your eyes open for that, fellas and ladies at home. Let's dive right into what's going on this week right here. Sony has said they intend to buy Bungie. They haven't bought them yet, but they are gonna, assuming all regulatory committees allow this to pass. The great consolidation of all video games continues, everybody. Sony wants to get theirs. And this time it's Bungie, the Destiny company, if you will. Men and women, what made Halo? Although, to correct people who for some reason in my timeline don't understand this deal does not get them this 3.6 billion? I think that's right. I don't have it in front of me. I'll look it up. This deal for that much money does not get them old Halo games at all. Some people think they do. They're like, whoa, getting all those Halo games. I'm like, no, that's not how this works,
We're
dude.
finally have Halo on the PlayStation.
Yeah, Microsoft owns Halo entirely. That IP is 100% Microsoft's and has been since Combat Evolved on the original Xbox some 20 years ago. So that's not part of this. Although, I don't know, maybe Marathon or Myth or they have other games I forget the names of. Older games. Anyway.
That's probably Rockstar, but there's one they did where it was an anime lady.
That was called Oni?
Yeah, that's it.
I think that's a Rockstar owned deal too, yeah. That was cool. Oni was cool. It was all right.
Really?
Yeah, I liked Oni. It was okay. Do you remember Oni? I remember Oni.
That's a pretty big throwback though, right?
Yeah, it's way back.
Yeah.
I think that was maybe PS2, very early PS2 maybe, or something like that.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. Anyway, this is happening, and now I have it up. The price is 3.6. I was right. $3.6 billion.
It says, hang on, whoa. Oni is a third-person action video game developed by Bungie West, a division of Bungie, published by Take-Two.
Yeah, so Take-Two owns the rights, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so they made it, but I don't think they own it. Now, Myth is Take-Two also. I loved Myth. Myth was this great PC game back in the day.
So when I go to the Bungie site, because usually these game companies list all their games.
Yeah.
They've got nothing but Destiny.
That's that's what they got now.
I think they've like sold everything they've ever done.
They've acquired Destiny.
Yeah, they own Destiny now. And look, that's actually a big part of what I want to discuss here. Some people, myself included, at least in the early announcement of this, thought maybe this is too much. 3.6 billion is a lot of money for a game.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they overpaid.
Yeah, they paid for a game.
Not that good of a game.
However, I mean, people love Destiny. It's a good game. Destiny 2 is a revenue source and all of that. But
$3 worth of that, I find it surprising.
Here's what I think. I think we're all looking at it too short term. Because the short term is, hey, we're buying a revenue-rich game that's, and a developer that really does have some cachet in terms of, industry respect, player respect. They make great first-person immersive games. That's just what they do. And you could do a lot worse. 3.6 billion tells me, though, that they, probably have something going on behind the scenes that's like their next big thing, and Sony knows what it is and is going to work with them on that. But I think moreover, their plan is to bring to bear big virtual world. I'm not going to say metaverse many more times today, but this is a play for them to say, we're going to make big, massive places people want to go, a lot like, say, Fortnite. Everybody wants that Fortnite money, and Fortnite is no longer just a shooter. Fortnite's a place to watch concerts and do all kinds of weird shit. They would love to be the place for that, and I don't think they intend to make it just on PlayStation. I think they want it everywhere. And they think that Bungie can help get them there. That's my personal take. I could be wrong. But I also, for the record, I think all of the stuff Microsoft's buying, their ultimate goal is the same. They just want to have as much talent under the hood as possible so that wherever we go next for our games, they are there with the most talent. And I really don't think it's all that different. It's easy to look at it as just, it's just we're making more games and think of it in current day, business. But I think it's
like a lot of expensive lessons are going to be learned that we'll never know about.
100% agree.
Stuff like,
totally
let's buy this great gaming company and realize the shit storm they've got themselves into. Like gaming is not like hardware or whatever. It's people decide to dislike games for good reasons and for crazy reasons.
Yeah.
Ask EA about how much people love their great company. I don't know.
We're at the schoolyard stage where all the kids have gathered. You have your two team captains, Captain Sony and Captain Microsoft. And one by one, they're picking the kids that they think are going to be the best at flag football. Like. And in about 5 to 6 years, we're going to find out what kids were truly excellent, what kids just fall on the ground to eat dirt and then go to the nurse's office.
I really like that analogy because I actually think it's dead on. I think, Bo, you're exactly right. I think they are hedging. This is bet hedging, okay, by both huge companies. But honestly, every big tech company, entertainment company across the world right now is hedging bets for the future of all of this and what that platform even is, what it means, what you defined it as. Again, we talked about this at length in our pre-show, so I don't want to go over it all again because I am going to give this to everybody. But the point is, like, there's a lot more at stake here than just Destiny's next game, which, by the way, we think we know what it is. It's called Matter, and it's been rumored for a while. They had a job posting for an art position on a game called Matter.
It's not Destin 3?
It's not Destin 3. Although Matter could be anything, but they described it thusly. Hold on.
Matter could be anything. Come to Core for deep takes like that one.
Here's what it is. I got it right here. I was just burning time until I found it. Here it is. What is Matter? They had said they're intended to release their next game franchises before all of this buyout by 2025. In 2018, they filed a trademark under the name Matter, which looks likely to be the game's new title or something like it. Also in 2018, Chinese company NetEase invested $100 million into Bungie, said it would help them build new worlds and explore new directions. It says here, unlike the tone of Destiny and Halo, the tone of Matter is said to be more lighthearted and whimsical. The first job advertisement was for an incubation art director, and it read like this, quote, Are you on a mission to create games that bond players together into deeply invested communities? Would you like to work on something comedic and lighthearted and whimsical? When you think of Destiny and Halo, the last words that come to mind are usually comedic and whimsical, but whatever. It says, we need to build our publishing group, but part of our vision is also to become a multi-franchise entertainment company. So let that mean whatever it's going to mean. There's something in here about necromancers. Here it is. In that same job posting, you are the glue between the sword and the reward. You will work in tandem with our sandbox and economy teams to build and distribute items to our players. Living inside a giant database of hundreds of baubles, weapons, and armor is nothing new to you, and neither is building a system so clever to distribute all these items in a necromancer's dungeon. Those could be code words for other things. That happens sometimes. Who knows? Sounds like frickin' Diablo or something with maybe a whimsical approach. Who knows? Yeah. I don't know. But whether
I
this
could
is
also.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
I can also see Bungie going the way of Rare. Like, remember when Microsoft acquired Rare and we were like, oh, what are they going to do with them?
Yeah.
And then they just sort of made avatars for them until Sea of Thieves came out and they finally did something.
Yeah.
I can see that kind of happening with Bungie. It could be as well. Because like you said, I think maybe they were focused more on talent than specific game at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, because all they really are they're getting an active revenue model with Destiny, which still makes more money than any other 4-player plus raid option multiplayer co-op shooter. Whatever.
Yeah, because it always costs $60.
Looter shooters.
You want to play it at $60.
Every time John, we've gone over this before, but yes, every time John goes in there, they want another $60 from him. But yeah, like they kind of, they're kings of that space, and the Halo legacy is a worthy one. I just think if you're going to pay that level of money, that's not even a full Star Wars. Do you notice that? Star Wars was $4 billion. This is 3.6. It's almost as much as Star Wars, or as I like to call it, the Star Wars.
Like, that's what I mean. This is over. They've overpaid for like the value of Bungie only having Destiny. To in my mind is like a couple $100 million. Like, if you're lucky, like they must really be raking in revenue. But like, I don't really.
Well, see, and that's why
I don't work in the industry. I don't know, but it seems crazy to me.
I agree with you on that, and that's why I think this is more about building something that they plan for well in the future. I mean, they have said they want to have 10 games as a service titles running by 2025. Sony said this. Now, they didn't say it in conjunction with this deal, but it was just something they had said outside of this or an earnings call or something. We have more information about what they will or won't do. So the question was, as a Destiny 2 player, does Bungie become part of the PlayStation family? And does it have any immediate impact on how we'll play and experience Destiny 2? No, they said our commitment to Destiny 2 as a multi-platform game with full cross-play remains unchanged. We want you to play Witch Queen on February 22nd, 2020 on the platform of your choice. Nice little commercial inserted there in their question or their answer. Will the Destiny 2 experience on non-PlayStation platforms be impacted by Bungie becoming part of Sony? No, we want to maintain the same great experience you already have on whatever your platform of choice is. Let's see. Basically, they have a bunch more questions like that about exclusives.
People forget all that stuff in 2 years, though. When
they do.
Like they're like, because Blizzard's doing this too. Like they're just trying to calm people. Whatever makes the perception of the companies favorable and stock prices go up, but like they could easily be like, you know what, we're deciding whatever later on. So, and no one's gonna go back, hey, let me dig out the FAQ from 2 years ago and see what they said. Like,
things can
like
change.
it's what it is. It's of the moment. Like we're very of the moment now with our news and what we pay attention to. Because as I remember, we covered on the show that when Bungie left Activision Blizzard, they bought themselves out.
Well, they didn't
and they
own
had
them.
Huge parties. They were like, F that company. We're glad to be free. So when I heard this news, I went, what? Didn't you want to be independent? Like, and I'm like, I realized I don't go to their meetings, so I don't know what really the reasons were, but it kind of seemed like from the reporting that they were very happy to be in control of their own, wait for it, Destiny.
Yeah.
So why the hell? Like, what do they have to gain, or what's going on? That
so
have
keep
to
in mind,
$3.6 billion.
Yeah, well, that's a big part of it. But keep this
pretty
in
much
mind,
right.
Before,
like this is just
before we get a bunch of emails. Before we get a bunch of emails of people flipping out, they didn't. Activision did not own Bungie at all.
Oh well, they had to buy out of something.
They had an exclusivity contract for publishing with Bungie, and that was it.
Okay, that's okay. So they weren't owned, but it is kind of getting owned when someone can tell you what you can and can't.
100%. Like, yes, they wanted to get out of it, but it wasn't a deal where it was like this, where they bought them, owned them, and then they bought themselves out. That isn't what happened. So just for clarity, and for those out there like jumping all over their email.
I probably have that wrong, but
here's what
regardless, they celebrated not having to be involved with the partner. Like,
no, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. And this maybe goes to some of that. Their next question was, Bungie has future games in development. Will they now become PlayStation exclusives? Their answer was no. We want the worlds we are creating to extend to anywhere people play their games. Again, pushing toward the concept of metaverse. Anyway, we will continue to be self-published, creatively independent, and we will continue to drive one unified Bungie community. So that, even speaking of publishing, sounds like they are still going to self-publish all their content, that Sony doesn't suddenly become a publisher. Probably in the way that, what's that other Sony, like Naughty Dog's like this. Like Naughty Dog, I don't know if they're even outrightly owned by Sony, but they're so tied together. I'd have to look at that. I'm not sure how that one works.
I mean, it's possible just to have good working relationships with companies that you mutually benefit, from, and maybe there are existing contracts, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Like, just so, I mean, obviously they're going to work with somebody. I just don't, there's this very obvious, I see the purpose behind what Xbox has been doing and making these purchases. They're grand, and we can easily intuit the story beneath the story, even if it's fiction or whatever. It's just in our own minds, like the perception, right? Like, Xbox has got this product and they're trying to consolidate and bring stuff to their awesome Game Pass line and really go deep on that. And you're right, there might be other ulterior motives related to the metaverse business. It's also leveraging the technology that these companies are good with. Mm-hmm. But when I look at Bungie and Sony buying it, the narrative I have, fiction or no, is just, well, Sony's getting owned. And this is, when you get desperate and you're losing a game, it's like, oh shit, we got to do some stuff too. Who's available? Yeah. Bungie. Because there's nothing about this deal that there's some excitement to Bethesda getting owned by Microsoft. There's some excitement. There's a lot of favorable, feedback about Activision and Microsoft buying Activision. This doesn't feel like, yay, my Destiny's going to be better or worse. I don't, Do
you agree, John? You think does this mean what do you think it ultimately means? Do you think it'll be like Rare, where they just sort of squander it, or what?
I mean, I think Bo's right. As an outsider, I don't think it's easy to understand why they did this, why they paid as much as they did. I don't think it's inherently obvious why Bungie would be worth this amount of money. But I would bet, and if I was going to put money down on something, it's a case of Sony knows something that we don't. And I think that in the future, we're going to get to a point where we go, oh, that makes sense. But it could be, like we keep saying, on the back of the talent. Like, there is no doubt. I don't really love Destiny. I don't really play it. But one thing that I think most people would agree with is that game plays really well.
Yeah.
Bungie makes a good game.
Does.
Yeah.
Like, they know what they're doing from a technical level, whether you like how it all comes together, how it all fits, the narrative around it, the packaging around it. But at the end of the day, they make shooters that feel really good, that people want to play. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know why it's worth $3.6 billion. That is a confusing narrative to me. But it makes me think, okay, well, there must be something that I don't know.
Their IP is super. Well, this is just my opinion, but the Destiny IP is it's pretty late. Like, there's a lot of work to make that a big, interesting IP compared to other ones. Yes, there are people who like it, but this is not on the level of Halo or Mario or Link or any
Yeah.
I'm like, this is like popularity level 700. It's high for those people who are into it, but overall, this is not a high value brand. In my opinion.
Critical as I've been recently, and I still get occasional reminders of Halo's narrative and Master Chief and all of that, I still think it's much, much better than Destiny's. So I think maybe that says where my thought is.
I don't think you're wrong. I think, Bo, you're right too about the value of the IP. And that's why I just don't think that's what this is, and that there are things we don't know.
Maybe it's the talent, and maybe, I don't know, who knows what patents people hold too. Sometimes there's plays for that kind of thing too. So
I would have said Fallout by itself, or Elder Scrolls by itself. Those feel like more valuable IPs than Destiny on their own.
That's what I mean. Like, you could probably list, even if it's just your perception, what do you think are the most globally recognized video game IPs? And go down the list, and Destiny's going to be in the thousands. Yes, it's popular. That's a lot of people make it. Maybe they turn a lot of revenue, but it's vanilla dudes in armor. Like there's the Warframe exists. Like it's also in a crowded space. Like, and Warframe to me has way more personality, way more memorable than anything Destiny's doing. But it's also a crowded space. There's a lot of 4-player co-op online shooters, so it's not like they're the only ones doing that kind of thing. And
right.
I mean, I played the game. I saw the story. It was awful. I'm sorry, the writing is not. The improvements need to be made to have good narrative. It doesn't have good narrative.
It's better now than it was, but I agree with you. Especially Destiny 1, it was nonsense. It just had no story. It was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I only played 2. I didn't play 1, so I don't know. But 2 was serviceable, is what I give it. Let's say terrible is maybe a little. Hyperbolic, but it was serviceable. But it'd be better if there's no story. Yeah. But they were clearly trying to, make this an RPG-ish experience. But I don't know. I just don't see it as having a lot of potential. Like, let's release a new game and TV show or something, like whatever. So I guess you're probably right from the beginning, Scott, that they're buying this to gut it for
what they need them
resources
for.
Inside. Yeah, this is like Cadbury egg, and they want the.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yolk inside.
And then the gravy is just that. Oh, and also we have a service game called Destiny that people like. Like that's just like.
Well, they're going to tell the public nothing, no problem. Don't mess up our stock prices. Like,
yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to buy a video game company and be like, we're shitting all over your IPs. No more games. We're taking the talent and leaving a husk out there, right? Like, that would be destructive.
It'd be terrible. Yeah.
So, we're going to get that story, I think, no matter what happens with the purchase of an entertainment company.
Yeah. No one's clamoring for like Destiny Tactics or Destiny RPG
you put tactics next to just about any damn thing and I'm on board with it.
I do that
Godzilla
too.
Destroy All Monsters Tactics. I'm in.
Did you play Gears Tactics, John?
Yeah,
yes, I did.
So
it was
good.
awesome. It was super good.
Yeah.
You put tactics next to a game title and I will play it. Guardians of the Galaxy Tactics, I'm back. I'm back into it. Like, let's do it.
Great idea. Yeah. I'm the same. You could say grocery store tactics. I'd be into it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you play Wordle Tactics, right?
I would.
Oh, hell yes. In a heartbeat.
That's a great idea. Maybe we should do Wordle Tactics.
Man, I got to tell you something.
What about Metaverse Tactics?
Sure. I'll do that.
Make a Wordle Tactics game. I'm thinking about how I'd do it. It'd be cool because you do your move, right? And then like the way you would attack is you would have to make your guesses, and whoever guessed first would essentially have the initiative of action.
Yeah, or hit if you both attack at the same time, and whoever gets the first resolves first, so they get the damage or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I'm in, dude. Sign me up for all your tactics. I was just today wondering where the Metal Slug Tactics game is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want that so bad.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It got me playing Metal Slug 3 over again because I love that game, and it reminded me. Oh yeah, right. SNK made some badass shit back in the day. They had some cool games in their little 24-bit era that no one could afford at the time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Just put tactics in front of everything, and you know what? Destiny Tactics, fine, whatever. I'd play that.
Yeah, I would.
I would play. I'd play that quicker than I'd be jumping back into Destiny. Let me put it that way.
Didn't they make Halo Wars? Was that them? I mean, they have some background in this, right?
I think that was Ensemble Studios that did that.
Ensemble did it, and then I don't know who did the second one because Ensemble was gone by that point.
Yeah. So I think for a while, I think it may have been the last thing Greg worked on was that first one, Greg Street, before he left for Warcraft.
Oh, he worked on Halo Wars?
Yeah. Well, he was a big part of Ensemble, especially through the Age of Empires 2 years. And then I think he may have been there at the start of that development, maybe not through the whole thing, but yeah, he was there for a long time. Anyway, we'll see. They say, don't worry about Destiny. It's all good. I believe them because, why would you mess with it?
Yeah, it's going to be fine. They're making more Destiny. The game. I didn't mean to say the game's not popular or anything. I just don't think it's.
It was last year. I was looking at the most played on PlayStation platform stuff last year. This doesn't count PC, Xbox, or any other place you can play Destiny 2, but it was the 6th most played game on PlayStation 4 and 5.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's pretty high. I mean, it's not number one, but I don't know what it even is. I forgot. It was something. What was it? I can't remember. Doesn't matter. All I know is this: 3.6 billion. It better be cool. So get on it. Speaking of Wordle has been sold. Josh Wardle sold Wordle to the New York Times for an undisclosed.
What is the Wordle coming to?
I know the world is falling. Wordle is falling around us. He sold it for a 7 figures, but undisclosed total. So we don't know how much. But
it doesn't matter. It could be. It could start with a 1, that 7 figure deal, and it's fine.
It's fine.
You're doing okay.
A lot of people think it's worth a lot more, like the opposite of this Bungie thing. Like he should have gotten more, but then others are quick to point out that this is basically a reskin of an old board game called...
It's probably pretty easily replicable too, and there's no patents associated. Like he doesn't own the patent on 5-letter, obviously, because there's 1,000 copycats out there.
Yeah,
right.
And some of them are doing really well. The main point here is this: the value here is the name and its current, spastic hype. Everyone's so into it.
Boy, some people have gotten doom and gloom about this, though. Like,
big time.
That's it. I'm never going to play Wordle ever again. I'm done.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's such a weird concept, this thing that we have where it's like, we see this thing that this guy made that was very important, that it was pure and not make, he didn't want ads. He didn't want to monetize it in any way. He just wanted this thing out there. And everybody's like, yeah, what a good guy. What an upstanding guy. The kind of guy you want to see succeed. Then he does. And it's not that they're mad at him, right?
No.
It's that they're mad at the New York Times. And then all of a sudden it's garbage now.
Well, it's just corporations.
It might end up being garbage, but can we at least agree to find out what level of garbage it is before we're like, the world's over. Thanks, 2022. I guess we can't have anything nice.
It's just corporations. People, corporations will never be cool. Like it's never a selling point that a corporation's involved. That doesn't mean that it isn't an immature view, that there aren't fun things and great products. Like corporations are responsible for a lot of positive things, but it's never cool. I'm sorry, but there's never been in existence a corporation that has had any actual coolness to it.
There's
a
cool
little independent thing moves to corporate world. You go, that's a reduction. That's a negative move.
No, I agree.
No matter what graph you chart on it, it's negative. It's negative traction, and that's science.
I agree, but we used to think of Blizzard as cool in that way, but also we were getting
they're still a corpo. They're still a corpo.
But that's my point.
I mean, I never lost sight of that.
I don't disagree with you, Bo. I think it's just
and I'm not speaking for myself.
Reaction to it. I can understand going, ugh, because this is what my wife did. She came in and she goes, sold to the New York Times. I don't know if we're going to play it anymore. And I was like, well, I'm going to keep playing it. And she goes, have you ever tried to read one of their articles? And I was like, oh, that's a good point. A big thing pops up and goes, pay us. And I go, no. And I click outside of it and I go away from it.
They say they're not going to change it. They say they're not doing that. So
that's what they say.
That's what they say.
See,
I mean, and people in the chat are like, I know what's going to their paywall. We don't know anything. We don't actually know. And I'm not defending the New York Times.
We don't know.
Idea. Just don't know.
And there's no reason to be so certain now that it's awful. Like, I'm just saying, look, don't step back from the ledge a little bit. Like, yeah, it's probably bad because I agree with Bo. Nothing's ever become corporate and become way cooler corporate. But at the same time, that doesn't mean the year's over. Like, it doesn't mean your life's over. It doesn't mean you can't guess a 5-letter word tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think people just have that feeling, but don't have the way to articulate it. Like, I don't want to condescend everyone and say I could better explain what they're feeling than they can, but I really feel like we do a lot of, humans do a lot of rationalizing beyond the facts that they know. And the only thing I know for sure is corpos are not cool. And that's a negative cultural move when you got indie hipster thing that is awesome and everyone likes it and it seems wholesome and goes to corporate. Well, let's consult with the board of directors on how to extract revenue from this sweet little IP that somebody made, and then it's just like you take it, you extend it. It's gonna be this is like gaming science. Every time there's a transaction, there are 1,000 voices on the internet that are like, yeah, corporate, have all these things to say. When really, it's just like these are businesses. They're making business decisions. Yeah. There's nothing cool about it. That's why you feel this way, probably.
And most of the people saying that stuff, they're going to keep playing it. They're going to do it every day because they're hooked on it, and it's fine.
Like,
it's fine.
Star Wars was never good since Disney owned it. I'm like, Star Wars has always been owned by a corporation, right? So, whatever.
Yeah.
It
was never not.
But you see the transaction, corporation. You see the word corporation. That, I think in an ideal world, a corporation would exist, but also erase it from the minds of everybody. So,
well, plus you're screwed if you do and screwed if you don't. If you're George Lucas, You start out as a filmmaker with nothing, and then you have a giant hit on your hands, and now you own Lucasfilm, and Lucasfilm owns the rights to the IP, and shares that with Fox and whoever else is involved. But now they're a corporation. Now what are you going to do? Like you're screwed.
That's the narrative with all artists. It's like the record companies are screwing the musicians. Spotify and Apple Music are screwing the musicians. The director wants to do things, but then the production company came in and told them they had to put Coke ad in their movie or it doesn't get made. Like, this is a myth. This is a modern mythos that we have, that the artists are at war with the artists who have a will to create and want to do something beautiful or just have fun ideas or something, are at the whim of essentially corporate or private money interests. And that's just what that sounds like when you hear it. And it's hard to like it, so
what it feels like is, when you make you're doing a customized character in a game and it's got sliders, and
penis, like a penis slider,
you go like, let's move this, let me try moving the nose shape, and you go oh no, that's not it, and you move it back and you're 100% certain you put it back where it was, and you're like, the whole face is fucked. Like, what happened?
This is this is a John thing. Let me speak to this real quick. John spends more time in character creation screens than he often does the games that they're part of. So you have to at least admit that you might be a little more sensitive to where the nose slider was than your average player.
Be. It's true. It could be a me thing, but I'm sure other people have done that, where you move it just a little bit and then you move it back and you're like, it's back, but why does everything look bad now? Because you've seen it move and now you've just read the entire face completely different than what it was. And, I think that's what it is. But look, everything in life is ephemeral. I hate to tell you, but even the things you love the very most are going to one day go away.
Even they are. Even you are, dear listener. You're ephemeral. Yeah.
Life, and the greatest lesson you can learn, is to enjoy things in the moment while it lasts. And let's all just hold on to Wordle, whether that's a week or whether that's 13 more years. And it just starts recycling words. And we're like, shit, it was moist again. Oh, crap.
Oh, no.
Like, just enjoy it while you can.
That was yesterday's, right? We didn't spoil anything. Was yesterday's moist or today?
No, it's over. Yesterday's puzzle was moist. No one can do it.
Okay, moist is over.
We're fine. All right. We can say moist.
I got more emails.
3 tries, I think.
I got like 30, 40 emails yesterday saying, did you get today's solution? Did you get it? You're going to hate it. You're going to hate today's solution. You're going to hate it. And I'm like, why am I going to hate it? And then it actually helped me get it. It helped me figure it out. It's like, I hate the word moist. Everyone knows I hate it, and there it was. So good job.
You want moist chicken. Like, moist is not a universal.
No, it's not a good word. It's not good.
It's just bad in general. I
think I'm extra mad.
What's an alternative word for moist? Like, if you're just like, this blank chicken is delicious.
Blank chicken.
Like, what other word do you use than moist?
I want it to be blank.
Wet. Wet chicken is
wet chicken. No, you're right. It has its uses, but I still don't I just don't like the sound of it. Like, I take out all.
Juicy is better. Yeah, juicy's better. But for some reason, whatever follows it changes it. It saves it. So moist chicken is okay, but you remove the chicken, you just say moist, and
like moist thighs, right? You're sweaty, you got moist thighs. Pretty gross, right? Juicy thighs are also gross.
Yeah.
Right?
It's the way we visualize things with our language. You get as far as the sentence, it was very moist, and your brain is just in chaos right now. You're like, what's going to happen here?
Yep.
Chicken, and then it's like, oh, relief. Okay, we feel good. We're fine.
I know why. Human beings avoid moisture, generally speaking, because it means dampness, which leads to mold, which leads to spores, which leads to death and disease. It's really, that's what this is. So it's a word that reminds us of those
sex
things.
Avoidance thing.
Well, no, it's that too.
No.
But it's not an avoidance thing. I think it's just that the word moist, I think the word moist just brings up a lot of like, ew, wet, and what's wrong with it? Like the basement, something stinks down here.
Yeasty,
yeah. I stepped on the rug and it was moist. You're like, oh, I got to deal with that before, mold.
Yeah. I don't like moisture either. Like when people say, oh, it's sure been dry this summer. I wish we had some more moisture. F off. I don't want to hear that. I I don't want to hear that ever in my life. I hate moisture. Anyway,
well, I'm not dying on the moist hill. I'm dying on the puss hill. So I'm gonna. I'm done on this conversation. You guys do what you want.
Those two. Now you got two hills all to yourself. All right, let's move on.
Is that reference to pre-show or this show?
I think it was this show.
Makes sense to anyone.
Everybody's getting it this week, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But they're gonna get it in reverse order, so it's like the Book of Boba Fett.
I haven't seen that.
I'm
yet,
gonna go to a
back
back to take soon, and then the pre-show will run. You haven't seen it yet?
No,
Crazy. That's the best episode of all time.
You are the. Hold on a second. Back this truck up. You are literally one of my friends that told me I don't need to see it. You told me that.
Yeah, at the beginning, and then the show took a sharp left turn.
Yes,
without spoiling anything, it's hard to describe until you see it.
Hey.
It's like, oh, it just took a sharp left turn. That's the best way I can just into some other thing, and now you got to watch it.
Scott, how do you feel about Timothy Oliphant?
Big fan. Love him.
Okay,
Can
you
do
should
no
probably
wrong.
watch the Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
And that is a spoiler, to be clear, but it is such a minor spoiler compared to all the other spoilers in that show that I am fine with saying it.
Yes, that's a low tier spoiler.
Very low tier. All right.
Yeah.
So
that show goes places.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start binging it like right away because the finale's what, Friday or something? Whenever it is, next week.
Next week on Wednesday.
By the time I get there, I'll have gotten close to catching up or whatever. So I'm totally going to watch it. But it was both of you telling me not to watch it like 3 weeks ago.
I said watch it. I liked it from the beginning.
I was in favor of watching it, but I said yes. We both said that if you like Mandalorian, but we could. It felt a little skippable or side questy.
Yeah.
And that's. It's not the case anyway. If you like Scott, Mandalorian and like where things are going, you have to watch the show now.
Okay.
What if you were watching the movie Ant-Man and you're like, yeah, Ant-Man's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Paul Rudd never ages. Turning small. I'm into this.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden it had the ending of like Civil War.
Oh.
And you're like, what happened to this show?
Okay, so it took a turn. It really did take a turn, you're telling me.
It's really a sharp left turn. That's episode 5. Episode 5 and 6, you're like, what's going on? I like it. It's awesome. But,
Rose No Skill 24 in the chat says it made me moist, if that's what you mean. Okay, great.
Yeah, there we go.
It was for sure moisture farm.
Made you juicy. Wow. Well, there you have it. Wordle, New York Times. Good luck. They claim it'll be out there and just available like it always has been, but like Bo said, a year later, who remembers the facts? So we'll see.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe it will be.
Maybe it will be.
John's right too. Maybe we're just being cynical and enjoy the ephemeral.
Ephemeral.
While you have it.
Yeah, ephemeral. Hey, there's more acquisitions to come. Jeff Keighley made a tweet that basically just said, hey, I know about more of these coming. We're not done with these Bungie level, ABK acquisition level announcements.
Shit.
But we don't know what he meant. We have no idea.
Are there any leaks? Acquisition?
I still think that Square Enix is going the way of Sony.
You think they'll go
not just because that trended on Twitter, and it did. A lot of people are guessing this, but I think there's a lot of evidence that suggests that it could go that way. There was a lot of talk when Final Fantasy XIV was in the news in a big way, because that's a PlayStation exclusive version for console. You can't play it on the Xbox. And a lot of people were saying, well, would you do it? Would you do it? And their response was like, yeah, we'd really like to put it on the Xbox. We basically have a version that we could move over there. We'd like to do it. And then that was kind of all they said about it. And it's like, we just got to work on the deal. You think about what the messaging on Xbox is, which is, put whatever you want out here. And I feel like you can pretty easily read the room and go, okay, well, wait a minute. If the developers of 14 are saying, hey, we're into this idea, we would love it to be on Xbox. And you have Microsoft, which is the most like, sure, put whatever you want on the Xbox.
Yeah.
Why isn't it happening then? And I think, to me, you can go, well, there's probably exclusivity deals going on, and that's what it is. Whether that's owning them is a completely different story, but we've also been watching a lot of Final Fantasy things disappear off of Game Pass.
That's true. Bunch got but they also added a bunch recently, and they're not leaving.
They did.
So
But they could have a deal where it's like, we're going to add so many over the course of a year and all of that. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
That could be interesting. I could see that as being a very valuable get for Sony. I could see that being.
Leave that deal. Final Fantasy 14 alone. People are going to freak out.
Oh, they'll lose their minds. Well, no, I mean, as long as you can still play it.
They love it at the moment.
If you can still play it on PC and PlayStation, I don't think they'll care where it goes.
Yeah, it doesn't actually change anything for the 14.
Who knows what kind of, like, we don't know who's buying what, so who knows what kind of a rational reaction, they're like, that people are going to have about an acquisition of Final Fantasy 14.
Fair point. Yeah.
I
wouldn't bet.
Bobby Kotick will buy.
I will not bet on
buy Square Enix.
I will not bet on rational. As I don't think that will happen if this gets announced. I will say this, Jeff Keighley. What if? Here's a what if. What if this all came down to? It turns out the Home and Garden channel is buying the Game Awards or something dumb like that. What if? If that happened? Then
he loses his credibility, right? I mean, that's bad.
Yeah,
he's an insider enough that he would know how that's going to play.
You'd think so. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so. Maybe it's Hideo Kojima buying the VG.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. They're buddies.
Or maybe they're just getting married at this point.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro will like officiate the wedding or something. All these buddies.
Put a ring on it, everyone. Jeff and Hideo walking the aisle.
Is it Hideo? I always said Hideo. Is that wrong?
I don't know. I think it's Hideo, but I don't know.
I think it's Hideo.
Okay, I always said Hideo. I'm sure Hideo's wrong.
Video killed the
Hideo
star. Or Hideo killed the video star.
There you go. Nailed it. Also, Game Pass will soon stop taking money from inactive accounts. I have to think Bo likes this idea, right? You're into this.
So this was news last week, but I forgot to put it in. I got tweeted this so many times after my rant on the show. They're like, "Hey, dude, Blizzard," or well, I guess that's true, but Microsoft is doing this thing where they're going to, and I think they're bending to legislation in the UK that I think is looking at this overall. Mm-hmm. I think they're just getting out in front of it. Like, it's a favorable thing. I can't say a bad thing. Good guy Phil Spencer continuing to be the Superman of video games, trying to do the right thing. Yeah. I don't really have a negative thing to say about it. I just know the rules are not really going to cover my situation. If I log in and play Skate 3 for an hour, I'm boned, right? Like I have to have the discipline to not use it. And so they're like, we got you with the Skate 3 clause. Then it's like, well, I should stop using that because I did pony up the $5 and I just bought Skate 3 so I can just play it with Game Pass.
Good.
But it was on sale. Well. It was less than that. I think it was like $3. Yeah. So I actually own it. But whatever. If I'm like, I'm not likely to forget that I have Game Pass. I forget other subscriptions that I have.
Sure.
But I feel like, it's a good thing. It's a positive thing.
I agree. Yeah, I think the fact that part of it is pressure from the European Union. They have kind of some they have bigger rules about this, but I think everybody should do it. Problem is, a lot of places, and I don't know that Game Pass is one of them, but a lot of them, their entire model doesn't hinge on it, but it definitely benefits from people who just lapse and forget. Which is your point 2 weeks ago than when you were complaining about it.
It depends how you think about these things, right? If you're like, you have to earn $1, then it is a big deal. But there are those among us that are so, I guess, flush with money, even if on a middle class level, that stuff doesn't really bother them that much. They're like, I'm happy to support the company.
Yeah.
Like we live in that age too. And I could pick that apart, but at the same time, I support people on Patreon and I don't really pay attention. And when I think about it, I'm like, I should unsub. No, I'll keep. I like Into the Nexus. I haven't been playing a lot of Heroes, so I haven't listened a lot to the show. I still toss them $1 every month.
Yeah, I do too.
Because I like them. Yeah, so if someone were to say that about Microsoft or whatever, then like, who might argue it's their money? But
I wonder if they probably warn us, right? They send you an email like things have been inactive for a certain amount of time, and you get an email going, "Hey, we noticed you haven't played in a while. We're going to take you off payment unless you mean to stay on or whatever." And then because I don't want to get taken off without notice either. Like I don't want the other extreme where I'm just suddenly don't have Game Pass and I don't know why just because I didn't play for a month. So I'm sure they'll do that, right? They have to do that.
Yeah,
they notify you.
So, and I think that's like it really comes up with Twitch, right? Because like I've subbed to some channels, and I'm like I've let it lapse. I've not watched a channel, and I'm like I guess I'm okay still giving them money, because I'm supporting them. So, but sometimes I'm just like I don't know, like because the rewards are tied in, right? Like if you're a 12-month subscriber, you get a different badge, and I don't want to be judgy about it because some people just like that, and I think it's okay for them to like that. But there is a sense of a company's not earning a thing, and in a lot of other industries, I'm not giving Ford money unless they're actually giving me a car or something like that. So, or the guy can't take the convenience store guy doesn't get money unless I buy a chocolate bar or a slushie from his store.
Sure.
So it seems a little like bullshit for the rest of the industries of the world that these companies can just kind of make money by squatting on your credit card information.
Kind of.
I did that to Bo for a long time. I gave him a lot of money monthly.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I forgot to unsub. And then he started streaming again, and I logged in to watch it, and I got you've been subscribed for 15 months, and I went, Jesus, cancel this.
Here, I have footage of your reaction when you saw it. Hold on. It was right here.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, you were very upset that day. By the way, I got a pronunciation of Hideo Kojima or Hideo. Here, let's hear how it says. I found it. Okay, here we go. Take a second to run.
Hideo Kojima.
Kojima.
Well, the part I thought I knew, apparently I didn't, and the part I wasn't sure about.
So Hideo Kojima. It does. That sounds more Japanese, doesn't it? Kojima.
Is it also like not Kojima Hideo because they read left to right?
That's
is that Chinese or is that
Korean? Does that? I know. My brother Matt's Korean name is Lee Sung Soo, and Lee is his last name.
Yeah. Or maybe that's not the case for Japanese. You're probably right.
Yeah, I think they just do the normal thing. They don't like Koreans anyway. Let's hear it one more time. Hold on. Here we go. Come on.
Play. Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, Kojima. All right.
Hideo Kojima.
I will remember this. Scott will remember this. Says up in the corner on my Fallout game I'm playing. All right, what else we got here? I hate that one. Let's do this one. Lost Ark launching. I just don't get this thing with Nintendo and freaking soundtracks. Who gives a shit?
Whatever.
They're just being Nintendo.
Fine.
They're just being Nintendo, and they make me mad, and I wish they wouldn't be this way with their music. Lost Ark launching at version 3 instead of version 1 includes 3 new zones on February 11, 2022. That's like right around the corner. And I forgot how I was hyped, and then I wasn't, and now I am again.
Yeah, so I just put it here really as an excuse to talk about Lost Ark because I didn't play it, but it's coming out next Friday. I'm taking some time off of work.
Oh, look at you.
To play this game. This is a fun game. This is a hype-worthy game. I'll probably stop playing Valheim for this game, or I'll end up just playing Valheim. We'll see how it goes. But
are you worried about...
I'm stoked. This is an MMO launch as well as being an action RPG. It has damage numbers, so I can see how much damage I'm doing to things. PoE.
But aren't you worried? We talked about this before. Are you worried about the free to play stuff? And you were bummed by some of that.
It's definitely going to be a silly free to play. Like I'm definitely putting myself in that sort of category of like I have to have maybe put a post-it up or a reminder on the wall about the value I'm getting for the time I'm playing when I'm doing like really incrementally dumb grindy stuff. If it gets to that,
yeah.
But I mean, the good news is that game's been actually out since 2014, I think. So there's a lot of content that just needs to be localized. Like there's work that needs to be done, but it's done. So it's a little easier to step away. Like when a WoW expansion's coming, you're not grinding for gear anymore. Like you kind of like when you're early in the expansion, you're like, I got to get the loot. I want to get into the raids. You got me do this, but like and I've done this like. Sub towards the end of an expansion, and I guess it was maybe even that might have been Mists for me when Timeless Isle was a thing.
Oh yeah,
it was just like loot everywhere, and then I'm like, well, I'm not going to spend a lot of time getting loot because I think Warlords was coming next. I was hyped for Warlords. I think came after. So I was like, I'm not going to grind out a bunch of stuff because Warlords is coming. So I kind of feel like maybe this game might hit that sweet spot of like, I'm not going to grind because like all this gear is going to be irrelevant soon, so I'll just play it and then, be out. So there's still a lot of disturbing shit in this game though. You can buy clothing for the NPC quest givers, which I think we'll see. I might rage quit that game. I mean, we'll see how it goes. But the action RPG, like it's a solid action RPG experience.
Yeah. I'm excited. Just legit.
Like the cinematic moments. If anything, it makes me excited for Diablo 4. Okay, because this game's been around for a while. There are people at Blizzard who definitely played Lost Ark, the Korean version of Lost Ark, or maybe the Russian. Like they definitely have had access and know about that game.
Yeah.
So if there's any cool ideas that they can bring to Diablo 4, and there are, in my opinion, especially the way the camera will pan down, like you'll go down an elevator or something, and it'll spin around and like do all this crazy stuff you never seen. You don't even see in Path of Exile. Like they go full on cinematic. And there was a hint of that in the Diablo 4, stuff where you go through walls and like the camera will come down. So this really is like taking ARPGs to the next level. It's just got the Korean MMO BS in it.
Yeah.
I think it's a worthwhile experience to check out. So I'm excited.
All right. I'm stoked. Bo or John,
and, it gets my Final Fantasy 14 energy out because everything looks Final Fantasy 14-ish without having to, I'm not really that into the hotbar combat, thing.
Yeah,
I feel like
it's
I've
a
done
different
that a lot,
style of combat. Yeah,
without saying anything judgmental, because I don't think it deserves its praise. Very fun game, but I'm
I'm
not in the
with
mood
you
for that kind of thing.
Kind of with you. I have the same problem right now.
ARPG, I'm definitely very ripe.
John, you going to play that? You ripe for it too?
I'm excited for it. Yeah, I bought one of the packs. I have it. I did get in and try it during its little beta. I kind of was in the opposite of Bo's camp. Again, it's not a condemnation of the game. It's a not for me. I didn't love how it played. But to say that with authority, I spent very little time with it. But they have a thing where you can try the class you want to play. And so they give you kind of like a higher level version of that class to just start fighting some enemies. And I was like, oh, I don't think I like how this plays. And I was like, I should keep going and like start and build up to this. I'm sure I would like it if I was building up to this. Like it was the MMO equivalent of like they give you all your abilities and you're like, oh, what happened to my hotbar? It's crazy. I don't know what I'm doing. And I bet if I got there organically, I'd feel differently about it. But
you also get more abilities than they show you in that trial too.
Yeah,
like you feel high powered, but
What?
No, the baby woke up and I was like, I'm gonna stop playing, and I never went back to it because I didn't like how it felt. So
just ironically, there's a user in chat room called Lord Moisty who asked us if we're trying to play Lost Ark.
Wait a minute.
There's a few things going on here.
That feels like a troll account right there.
He follows. He's Prime. He's subs to the channel with his Prime sub.
I'm sure he's a great individual.
I'm just saying, did he change
too many
it today?
things are going on with that name. It feels like destiny.
That's crazy. I promise I'm not. No, we don't think you're a troll. I'm just saying, is that your name? Did you didn't change it for this or didn't do something weird, right? Because we just had a whole thing about the word moist. Oh man, that's nuts.
And then we are talking about Lost Ark. It was just, I'm like, anyways.
Yeah. What is real?
Each of us has individually said, I'm excited to play it. So,
Lord Moisty, if you haven't heard the first part of this show tonight, make sure you check it out because your namesake is a big topic earlier. Okay. So there you go.
Lost Ark. I'm super stoked. Like, I'm not going to evangelize this game and say everyone must play it, but I just think I think there's going to be a lot of depth to. There's a talent system in there. There's no cost. It's very Diablo 3 in the sense there's no cost to switch out your runes.
Good.
And then you build like the best build you want. The only thing I'm not sure about is just the way gear works. The gear feels very like best in slot incremental versus Diablo's, mix and match and make something cool with what you got.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not letting that deter me. I think it's still going to be a fun game.
I'm excited.
And there's dungeons and raids, so there's multiplayer content in that game, which is also
the MMO part. Yeah, very interesting.
And there's some crazy ass I watched a video. There's a 40-minute boss fight that it's just hard to describe. Like it has all kinds of stuff you got to dodge. It has shields you got to break. It has like 7 phases. Like this is very high end content and what's in Korea, but like it's got some crazy ass raid, like 10-player raids, MMO style raids where people have to do what they, do the things they have to do, and it's very challenging stuff. So it's like of interest to me because I haven't played an MMO in a while, but it's an ARPG MMO, so that's like piqued my interest too.
Yeah, I'm legit excited to see how this plays out, and it is free to play.
You'll be hearing a lot more about this game.
Yeah.
And this game will definitely push me because it doesn't run the best, let alone stream, even not streaming. I put this for later, but I'll just say now. Last week I was like, I have a 4th gen i7. It's actually a 1st gen i7. It's like among the first i7s ever made, basically. I looked at my device.
It's an okay chip, though. It's all right.
So
it's not bad.
It's a processor. It works, but on high-end games, I do get the sub 30 frames sometimes on certain games, and I'm pretty sure it's not a graphics card issue. I'm pretty sure your PC is it's the equivalent of 100-year-old centennial. Like it's like, this game's a little too fast for me there, Sonny. I'm only gonna give you 20 frames.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a bit of that going on with this one. So it may definitely be because I really want to play Lost Ark in all its glory. This is going to be high incentive for me to upgrade.
Do you just made me think of something? Do you think you can get a grandma voice for like echoes and like your Siris and things? I'd love that. I'd love like a caring grandma voice for my digital voice assistants.
Yeah,
like
a deep, just like a skin pack,
just
but
like,
audio skin pack.
Hello, your Amazon wish list has come up empty, or do you want me to, like I would just like my Echo more if she talked like that.
Yeah,
I will go ahead and order that for you, and you just sit back. I'll take care of it.
Yep.
Hire John to do it. It's perfect.
Yeah, have John do it. I'm in. This is a great idea.
Tony.
Somebody make that voice pack. Gosh,
Google,
dang it.
Yeah, make that voice pack.
Oh, what an
And
awesome thing.
they should make those voice packs for Metaverse. Like, why do I have to speak using my own voice? If they could have a way for me to deep fake my own
dude,
voice.
in the catfish feature, none of us have to look or sound at all like we think we really look. Like, I'll tell you what,
we
this
can look
guy...
like old women. We can...
I interviewed somebody who's like a notable person in the world, and their avatar looks nothing like that person. Like, they went the other direction in every feature. The hair is not the same color. It's done in a way that is nothing like his real life hair. Nothing about this guy was real, and he's somebody who you can easily verify because he's like a public figure. So I think that's like the accepted thing in VR. Everybody gets to be whatever the frick they want to be. Just like we are now. Just like we get to do an avatar with, like, John will put Sylvanas on his avatar or whatever he does.
Yeah.
But I think now you have a can on
basically
your
be
head,
Sylvanas, right? But you need the voice pack to fulfill it. You don't want to look like Sylvanas but sound like John. No offense.
Yeah, hi everybody. I hate trees.
That's amazing.
You want
all
that
right.
sweet echo and that undead feel.
Yeah, everybody wants a good echo and an undead feel. I know that for sure. Hey, you guys, I know what I want. I want a Dear Martha review of something. How about that? Oh, quick here, though. I got a tease for tomorrow's instance. So tomorrow on the instance, you notice we didn't bring it up today. Sometimes you think we would bring up, but World of Warcraft, a.k.a. Blizzard, announced that they are finally doing something that I think a lot of us have asked for years and years and years. And now I don't care if I'm not playing. But we kind of care because I think it's an interesting change, and it also makes you think about what other games could do. Anyway, they're going to add a Horde and Alliance, basically multi-faction raiding and competitive multiplayer. In other words, you can go do a 25-man raid with a mix of Horde and Alliance characters starting, I think, the next patch. And that's a big deal. So the instance is going to talk about that tomorrow. Tune in and find out what we think about that and a whole bunch of other commentary around it. That's tomorrow on the instance, which you can find at theinstance.net. I wanted to get you guys to give you your quick on it. So, John, flash take. Did you always want this? Now it's finally here.
It feels like I'm stealing my answer from Taliesin and Evitel, because they were very public about this, but I happen to agree with them wholeheartedly, which is, this is great. I'm all for it. I'm a little bit annoyed that it didn't happen sooner, because at the end of BFA, we had the big, the war's over. You get an achievement. Yeah. You get a veteran of the whatever flipping war that we're on. Yeah. You it's done. That would have been the perfect time to do this. Instead, we're doing it because sub numbers are down. It just feels a little. What are you putting over?
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Wrong GIF.
No, it's Hoist. It's Hoist.
Is that
Hoist?
Is his name?
It's
Hoist?
Autobot Hoist. I'm pretty sure
okay.
It's a Generation 1 Transformer.
For listeners who can't see this stuff, I didn't mean to do it, but I have a GIF I was trying to use for John that shows the can on your head. This is not the right GIF. Anyway, this is. I didn't know he had
Hoist.
a name.
It rhymes with moist, so it's like, oh no, actually, he's not Hoist. Damn it, Hoist
what is it?
A different one.
There
is a Transformer, but it's a green guy.
What's this guy's name with the wiener? What's his name?
I mean, Hoist is a perfect name for this Transformer.
Yeah.
I got it wrong. Transformer. What is he? Caterpillar?
Well, he's got, so for those at home that can't see
Crane.
this,
Crane.
He's
What kind
a
of- yeah.
character with a big crane on his crotch where his wiener should be.
Grapple.
He
he grapple, like he's gonna grapple somebody with his crane crotch.
His crane wiener.
Crane dong.
Yeah, crane
Crane
dong
dong.
is nasty. Anyway,
I should
sorry.
have called him Crane Dong. That's a better name. Grapple.
But good points all around there, John. Bo, is this anything you care about? Cross
Pretty much the same. Well, no, but I mean, it's good. It narratively makes sense, right? You team up for a lot of stuff. Why the hell not?
Yeah, why not?
And
Let's
I don't
do it.
see it. I know there are people who like with PvP, but I mean, the only thing that I would say is, and you probably talk about this in depth, is it a sign of dwindling sub numbers? Because in my history as an MMO player, whenever servers, realms, or any shenanigans of that thing happen, it usually means it's a consolidation move to ensure, greater, a better live service for whatever it is. And that could just be tinfoil hat in this case, because Blizzard has still tons of realms, but it might be a shadowy way of, maybe just a way to signal, like, yes, there's lower population numbers, so we have to find solutions.
Yeah.
And less of it can be marketed as like, this is a good thing, cross faction and peace and love.
Yeah.
But, but it'd be interesting to think, like, is this a sign of dwindling player numbers? And
I think
should we
that's
expect
the case.
more of this in the future, unless they have a big win? And
I hate to say it, but I really do think that's what it is. I could be, I could be wrong. John could be wrong, but I don't know. Whatever. It's fine.
Everything's ephemeral. Ephemeral.
Ephemeral.
Ephemeral. Everything's ephemeral. It's fine. If it makes
I
the service
just showed
better.
up because you ordered cookies from Amazon, but fine, if you're going to talk like that, I'm going to go back to my house and eat them on my own.
That's right. She woke me up in the middle of the night. Not her, but the
Eat a
current
bone.
Echo. My Echo, I don't know if you guys had any issues with this, but there was an outage. So they had like a whole Amazon-wide outage of Echo problems. 11:45 at night. Finally falling asleep.
Wow.
Takes me forever to fall asleep. This thing goes, "Doot-doot," and it was turned up really loud and goes, "I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding you right now." I'm like, I'm not saying anything to you, bag of shit. I seriously kicked that thing off the side of my side table. I was so mad. Irritated me so
wow.
bad. But that was apparently a thing. Oh, yeah, and I have these lights tied to it that are in my backyard that I turn on to take the dogs out to pee and then turn off again. Or if we're having a party out there or something, I'll have them on. They're like hanging lights. And I'll say a word, turn on lights, and this is how it works. Anyway, those are just for like 25 minutes. For 25 minutes, they're blinking on and off for no reason. No one said anything. They're just going, deet, doot, deet, doot, deet. I'm like, you are drunk. Go effing home. Piece of crap. But I also like my Echo. I'm not dumping it. But give me the old lady voice to make up for it, Amazon. Then we're friends again.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry. We got
Oh, it's just, sometimes. I mean, I would be much easier for me to forgive my Echo if she talked like that. That's all I'm saying.
I'm experiencing an error. I've decided to turn off and on your lights to let neighbors know you might not be able to order more of our products.
She did it as a signal. That's good. Even better than what I thought. All right. Hey, John, be ready. Be prepared, because time for us to do a Dear Martha Steam review. Yeah, that's right. We do these every week. And this one should be fun because it's a review for Castlevania Advance Collection, which you can play on Steam. So basically a collection of the Game Boy Advance versions of the Castlevania games that came out for the Advance, available on Steam, which seems crazy to me, but there they are.
What a time we live in.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I bought these on, I don't think I told you, I bought this on Switch and have yet to play it. I meant to, and I haven't yet, but I did buy it. It was on sale or something. So anyway, here it is. Is this anything special, John? I have to just...
just a regular
This is a regular old one? All right, here we go. Yeah. Enjoy.
My dearest Martha, I present to you now my review for Castlevania Advance Collection. Martha, God, I miss being a kid and being happy. Yours in this life and the next, Angie B.
Really? That is sad. I feel bad for this person. I mean, nostalgia has a way of doing this, but gosh dang it. What did they give it a positive review? Or?
With the music,
they gave
too.
it a recommended.
Oh,
The music made it hit, the right way.
Yeah.
Like,
this one did hit different. That's amazing. All right. That's one of my
expecting something unintelligent, inappropriate.
Yeah.
Instead, I just got, oh, yeah, I know that feeling.
I think that might be my favorite one in a long time. That's a really
I
good
genuinely laughed out loud when I got to it. It
Yeah.
made me laugh, and I was like, "Oh, it's so short," but it made me laugh so much I had to do it.
one. Yeah, it's really good. Well done. All right, now, the time you've been waiting for. What have we been playing? I'll tell you right now that I played a weird grouping of games. I had another weird week where I didn't have a ton of time to do kind of what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. So it's kind of all over the place, but I got back into ESO. That new expansion has me hyped, and even
High Islands.
High Isles, yeah. And it doesn't come out until June. So it's a ways off, but it got me to thinking about, wow, there's a bunch of stuff I need to finish up. I want to get in, I kind of got excited about it. I'm having a hard time getting excited about Final Fantasy right now. I get in, I'm around for a while. I feel like Bo a little. I'm just like, I don't want to.
Why did you share a picture of the vampire guy from Final Fantasy?
Oh,
where did that come from?
Somebody on Twitter posted it, and I couldn't get over the idea that it had glasses on. I couldn't get over that. What is
that confused me because I was like, I don't think Scott's playing right now. And then all of a sudden you sent me a picture of like current end-game bosses, and I was like, what the hell is Scott doing right now in the game?
Yeah, no,
he's got glasses on.
You didn't like those glasses?
Well,
what?
I just don't understand why a vampire...
Evil people can't have vision problems, Scott?
Why do they have them in the fantasy place? It's a fantasy world.
People need to be able to see.
Why can't he use his magic to fix his eyeballs instead of having to wear corrective lenses?
Magic doesn't work that way, Scott.
Does he ever go, I will destroy...
Harry Potter wore glasses. Nobody said shit.
Would he
the same reason why Picard is bald.
Yeah, but no.
Right?
Okay,
like they
imagine this.
Other aliens all the time, and he's like, I really could have a head of hair.
But you got this really intense vampire guy who's like, my power is more. Hold on a second, there's a smudge. Okay, I can see now. Anyway, I'm going to destroy the world with my magic. Give me a break. It just doesn't work. I hate it. Glasses on fantasy characters. What the frick, dude? It's weird. It's weird.
That's so weird.
Anyway,
all right.
I mean, I don't. He's not wrong. He's not entirely wrong. It's the fantasies usually. Oh, there's all kinds of fantasies though, right? Like, this isn't like Middle Earth fantasy. This is like shopping mall fantasy, where people have like crazy outfits that don't make sense and stuff. Like
sure. Yeah, it is.
That didn't really help. That didn't really.
Not really. No.
It didn't really move the meter for Scott whatsoever. I should have just thought.
Our next D&D campaign, I'm gonna be a fantasy character with glasses for sure.
That's your plan. You're gonna.
Yep,
you're gonna do that
just to annoy Scott. The same reason that Stanley was a fancy lad and very prim and proper to annoy Scott. Next one's gonna wear glasses just to annoy Scott.
Fantastic. Cannot wait to be the subject. Or not the subject. I cannot wait to see the subject of your. You're
gonna call him Troll McGlasses.
Yeah.
And Troll McGlasses.
Trolly McGlasses. Effing Muriel or whatever. All right.
Whatever. You're allowed to not like something.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I am.
I'll admit it's an interesting choice, but he stands out in a line of vampires because he's the one with glasses.
That's true. All I'm saying is, for whatever reason, I just can't be motivated. So I decided to get back into ESO because I'm feeling motivated there and I'm liking it. I saw some really cool dragons. And it reminded me about this
dragon
beef and how much cooler their dragons are. And so there was that. What else did I play? I got into, spent a lot of time in VR for these interviews and stuff, which is it took a lot of my time, which is why I haven't played a ton of other stuff. But I was in there and people can make their own stuff in that game or in that world. So you can go to their creations by going through these portals, and there's people that build, and like I said, or like I was talking about in pre-show, there's nightclubs and comedy clubs and restaurants, and someone makes a replica of their home and just invites people in there, and all these kind of things. And a lot of them have games in them and different like mechanics and shooting each other, flying, and all that. And I went into this one that was just supposed to be an arcade, and it was awesome. It's basically an arcade with the ugly carpet and everything. All these machines, they're fake machines. So like instead of Pac-Man, it's called Maze Gobbler, but it's
that's
basically it's fantastic. I agree.
Corn game, by the way.
Corn game.
Well, maze is corn, right?
Oh, maze. Oh, I get it. Oh, that's not bad. I see what you did. They didn't spell it like the maze, the other maze, but they call it Maze Gobbler, and it's still the iconography is very like here's a yellow thing with a pie slice out of it. Looks like Pac-Man, and here's a ghost on the side. But what's cool is there's literally a quarter on there, and it's twinkling. You pick up the quarter with your little VR hand, boop, grab it, and then you insert it into the slot, and it goes ta-ding, and up comes a screen with a play button. So I thought, I'll just stand here and move sticks and be in this virtual arcade playing a virtual game. No, you hit the button, and it teleports you into a giant maze where you put on a Pac-Man helmet, put it on your head, literally snaps to your head when you put it on. Now you're looking outside the mouth of a Pac-Man. You see all the yellow around it. And you go through this maze avoiding ghosts, AI ghosts, while you eat all these floating cookies that look like dots. But you do it in first person. And you have 3 lives, just like Pac-Man. You're trying to clear the whole thing. You get a score. There's a leaderboard that's always there for who's done the best forever. And you're in this big maze space until you lose, and then it poops you back into the arcade because now you're done because you lost. It was all, the scripting is written by the person who created all of this. They're doing it in the world, so you don't do this outside on some computer. They make this object-oriented scripting stuff in the world, and they built effing Pac-Man, called it Maze Gobbler, and I had a blast.
I love the name Maze Gobbler.
That's
I can't
really
stop
dumb.
chuckling at it. It's good.
They had a Tempest game that was similar, not Tempest, it's Tetris rather. That was like, it was called like, I forgot the name, Falling Geometry or something.
Falling Geometry.
It's like that, where they're trying not to get in like copyright trouble, but
the no-name brand of the video game, essentially.
Yeah. But what's cool is this thing also has a functioning air hockey table that works. You grab the air hockey stick, and this thing has physics, and I played that with my daughter once, and she has a Quest 1, I have it too, and we did that together. And then there's a basketball hoop, those kinds in arcades where you just shoot them over and over and try to get the high score, and they keep pumping them out until the timer runs out. They have one of those. It was awesome. So I just wanted hats off to whoever made that. That was cool, and I'll probably go back in there because it was rad. It's also a little janky and kludgy and whatever, but that's part of the charm,
Yeah, that's part of the deal.
Yeah, it's very weird. But that's where
And you have the Quest. This is on your Quest 2.
Were
doing it?
It's on the Quest 2, which is right here. By the way, I'd like to make a recommendation. If you get a Quest 2, that's the white one. The black one's the Quest 1. They don't have multicolors for each one. But anyway, I bought the extra strap that is actually hardware, like plastic strap. And the reason I did that is that I guess it works like the PlayStation VR, which I don't have. But the idea is that it has a screw in the back where you can.
Oh, it fastens to your head better.
And it's so much better. This should be standard, and I'm annoyed that it isn't. It was only an extra $30 or something, but it's so much better, especially if you're going to work out a lot. There's a lot of fitness stuff on this device, and all that movement makes it move more. But with this,
I appreciate knowing that, because I'm probably going to get a Quest at some point. Like it's on my to-do list. I definitely want to join the metaverse.
I think you'd like it. It's some cool
stuff. Yeah, no,
there.
I'm like, there's a whole cadre, because I look at the VR games and I'm like, there's this whole cadre of gaming experiences that I'm not seeing, and I'm like, it's not that expensive to get a Quest. Like it's really, just even dabble in it if you're not going for high. I'm assuming Valve's offering might be more high fidelity, but Quest seems like the way to go. Anyways, I'm excited. Thanks for that information.
Yeah, no problem. I also found a fishing game I fell in love with. I've talked about it in years past, so I'm not going to worry about it now, but I forgot that I had it, and they've updated it for the new one, so it's much prettier and all this. And I sat up in bed next to my poor wife who's trying to sleep over here, and she's watching like a Seinfeld rerun, and I'm sitting up in bed, 2 controllers, headset on, fishing.
Oh my gosh.
Catching fish.
Oh my gosh.
That's extremely obnoxious.
Oh, horribly obnoxious. Horrible.
I feel so bad for Kim.
It's super dumb. And she laughed. She thought it was hilarious because I just looked stupid. But she couldn't hear it because the way the audio works is pretty good. It stays kind of isolated. And it's mostly just me moving. And they have an option to actually turn, grab and turn like the reel to pull in the fish. Or you can just assign it to the trigger button to sort of hold it until the fish starts to struggle, and then let off a little and then hold it. So I did that so it wouldn't bug her as much, because otherwise it's me doing
that's
this.
Different. I'm just picturing you in bed next to her just going...
Yeah. And
I guess it's hard to look cool in VR. Like, even if you're just staring at a screen, like we watch people on Twitch and they're just like...
Oh yeah, no, it's the worst.
VR is like, because you're like, you got your mouth agape the whole time, going, oh, what a wonderful world, but you probably just look so ridiculous.
It's super dumb.
Like
Yeah. You look dumb no matter what. That's the rule with this thing. So it'll be better when we're all in there because then we can't see what each other's doing in real life. And maybe that's weird too. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. The other thing I was going to say about that was, that game is called Bait, if anyone's looking for it. And I know that sounds funny too.
Of course. Bait.
Yeah, I'm baiting. If anyone says get off VR, I'll go, I'm baiting. That's what I'll say. Anyway,
Gobbler, the Pac-Man clone.
Before I move on to the final thing I played a bit of today, I don't have a ton to say about it because it's brand new, but I just wanted to shout out Nurgle in the chat. Just said some really nice things about
Nurgle,
about our community and about me, and it made me happy. So I just wanted to say thanks to Nurgle. That was really nice. I just want him to know I didn't miss it here on the show. That was super, super sweet. Anyway, moving down to this. Dying Light 2. It came out. It comes out today. Today's the day. I got it's technically called Dying Light 2 Stay Human. I got a press code. I don't even know why, but they sent me one that was really nice. I liked that first game. It's zombies, so, whatever. Some people may be so sick of zombies it won't matter what I say about this, but Dying Light had a kind of a cool take on that whole thing. It was a lot of parkour and movement stuff and the first-person view that you don't usually get with these games. And this is the long-awaited for, much-delayed sequel to that. And, go ahead.
This one's going to have 4-player multiplayer.
It does. It has a bunch of co-op options that are kind of drop-in, drop-out stuff. It's just sort of, I don't know what to compare it to. I was going to say Dark Souls, but it's not quite the same. Or not Dark Souls.
It sounds super ambitious and super good. I got a little scared away because this was a game I was actually really looking forward to, and I hope to hear more from you. Because a lot of the reviews I read have been very positive, but have also said that it has a lot of bugs and a lot of issues. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing that it's really hard to quantify, right? Because like Scott, we experienced this with Arkham Knight, where it was everybody was complaining, game doesn't run, game doesn't work, you can't even play it, and you and I happened to get lucky and we had zero problems with it.
Oh, right.
I just don't know if I'm willing to spend $60 to find out if I'm lucky or not, because I really want like the level of like ambition that they had for this game, where like dramatic changes to the world based on what you do was really exciting to me. Even though I'm kind of done with zombies, like it sounded cool.
It is cool. I think almost every aspect of it feels better to me, with maybe one exception. But maybe the first game wasn't good at this either. But I think I shouldn't say the story. The story's fine so far. The acting is pretty bad. Kind of right off the bat. Troy Baker is you. You're Troy Baker, and it's not. He's not terrible. It's that you feel like you're playing every game that Troy Baker ever was in again. Like he's just, It's just being Troy Baker again. Whereas when he played Joel in Last of Us, there was a nuance to playing Joel, and he really nailed that, and it was a different performance. This feels like the same guy that was in Second Son. It feels like the same guy that was in a couple of those Call of Duties he was in. Like this is just Troy Baker.
Cat says it's not Troy Baker.
It is 100% Troy Baker. 100%.
Well, by chat I mean one person. So
yeah.
Right now it's 1v1.
Let me look it up to make sure, because if it's not, I will be blown away that this isn't him.
You said 100% before you looked it up, Scott. That's dangerous.
That's how confident I was. But let me just see. Okay, here we go. Actor. That has to be him. There's no way this isn't him. Oh, I can't find it. What's it called? What's the name of the damn game? Staying Alive? No.
Dying Light 2.
Dying
Staying
Light.
Alive.
Dying Light 2. This is gonna piss me off if I'm wrong, but I'll admit it. I'm happy to if I'm wrong. Well, I'll be damned. It's not him. It's Jonah Scott. Why does he sound just like him? When you hear this, you're not going to think I'm crazy. Here, you know what? All right. Dying Light 2. No commentary. All right, watch this. We're going to play a little of this, and you tell me that it's not me, is what I'm saying. Okay, here you go.
Okay.
Look at this. Turn this up a little bit. All right, let me skip ahead. Some exhibition. Okay, Here we go. Almost there. Here we go. Okay, this other guy will talk to him first, and then he'll reply.
Ooh, you still got it.
You know, this game used to be more fun.
And you used to be younger.
And dumber.
Do you not?
What matters is you're still just as fast. Because a slow pilgrim
Yeah,
is
a dead pilgrim. Yeah, I know.
Are you telling me that doesn't sound like him?
It does sound a lot like him. I actually, oddly enough, I think it sounds more like Matt Mercer than it does Troy Baker, but they all kind of start to fall under that same kind of like sort of deep, breathy kind of delivery. But no, it sounds like him. I can see why you would have thought, but I'm just saying you went to 100%.
I did. I went there too fast. I apologize. My bad. So this guy sounds a whole lot like him, though. It's weird to me. However, the sentient point, or salient point, not sentient. Sentient would mean it has its own brain and is going to kill us. Is that it's quite good so far. I think the gameplay. I'll say this: the parkour elements are borderline brilliant. They feel real good, like smooth and smart, and I know right where I want to go. Even though the world's super complex, I'm just like, I'm going to grab that and go there and do this, and I do. Like you end up in places that you think you can go, and then you did, and then it also turns out there was a lot of other ways you could go, but you did, and it was smooth and it felt good. The comparison would be like the first time you played Assassin's Creed 1 or 2, and you were like, man, climbing walls is good in this compared to games previous. It feels like that, but for parkour, just like a really smooth experience. You just use the D shoulder pad to do it, and it feels great. Like I said, I think the acting's a little rough. Story seems fine. I'm too early to really say. There's some tropey stuff, but whatever. It's a video game. The environments are beautiful. All that stuff looks great. And then you remember, I don't think my ray tracing is turned on by default, so I'm going to go turn that on. This is on PC, by the way, is where I'm playing this. So I went in, turned on all the ray tracing options. Holy freaking shit. It's unbelievable on a 3080. I can't speak for other stuff. And I'm even running it with DLSS on, plus all ray tracing options. I'm still running at 60 plus. I may be running at 120. I haven't checked the frame rate. Every blade of grass has got light happening in like magical way. It's insane. It's insane. Ray tracing is exactly what we all wanted it to be when it works. It's a mind-blowing, because it went from looking like, this looks like a, I don't know, God of War era 2018, best we can do on PlayStation kind of look to it. You turn that stuff on. Holy shit. Unbelievable. Blew my mind. Beautiful so far. Anyway, so I'm playing that, and I'll have more to say about it next week. But so far, so good. John, did you bounce off Guardians? I'm going to be sad about this. What happened?
I think I might have. I had somebody tell me online that there was a way to turn down the amount of banter that they have between them, and I went through all the options and didn't see it. So
didn't see the bantometer?
Yeah, I didn't see it. So I tried, and it didn't happen. And I was showing it off. I was actually doing it on stream, and somewhere between riding around on a giant spectral hand and listening to a Russian dog and all this stuff, I just realized that I didn't know what we were doing in the game anymore. And it was because I had gotten so good at tuning out the Guardians of the Galaxy that I no longer was following the plot. And so we got to this section. It was like a series of really bad jokes that culminated in the thing that people have been using as an example for why Homer Simpson is so stupid and they lost track of his character, where Peter Quill goes up to a panel and Rocket's like, you gotta turn the gravity off. And Peter's like, how do I do that? And he's like, well, what do you see? He's like, I got a cord here, but I can plug it in blue or yellow. And he's like, well, whatever you do, don't plug it in green. And then Peter plugs it in green. Just no matter what you pick, he just does.
Yeah.
And then, why'd you do that? And I was just like, God, I hate this so much. I can't stand any bit of this. And I don't know why they're there. I don't know what they're doing. I'm well past the part, and it doesn't help that I'm at the part in the story where they've had their biggest level of fight and falling out. Like, people are actually quitting the Guardians at this point, or quitting at this point. So I'm at ultimate unsufferable level with them, because now instead of their regular banter, which I did an example of last week, now it's I am Groot. Tell Quill that Groot says this, because now Rocket doesn't want to talk to me. So now he needs someone else to relay his messages. So Groot says something, Rocket translates for someone else to tell me what's going on. And I'm just listening to this while I'm doing stuff that I have no idea why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, God, I don't want to play any more of this game. I played it for like 15 minutes and then turned it off. And I was just like, ugh, I don't know if I have the will to go back. Like, I kind of want to, because when it's good, it's really good.
Yeah.
But it is so bad. I'm hating the part of the game I'm in. There were some very cute puppies and a very cute dog, and that won me over for a little bit.
Yeah.
But if somebody can tell me where that setting actually is, if it exists, I have a feeling someone just made that up, then I'd be on board. But
I mean, like a setting to cut down on chatter? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
If that exists, I don't know where it is. Yeah.
And none of it, like, if it was helping me get back to where the plot is, it might be useful, because I've lost the thread. But I've lost the thread because I'm so busy trying not to hear what they're saying next to each other that I think I do miss the important things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I find every character in that game pretty insufferable. And I
love it. I love it because, I mean, I really like that I like the banter. I said so last week. I 100% can see why John doesn't like it, though. Like, just knowing you as much or little as I know you, I just think that sort of thing would probably drive you nuts, which I think is what I said in the beginning, which was, I wasn't sure if you were going to like that or not, or if you get used to it or whatever, but clearly it hasn't won you over. So
I was watching a video that Kyle did, and in the video he was talking about something unrelated, but he said that he was talking about a particular character, and he said this character kind of removes themselves from the central conflict and only comes in to keep the other characters from fighting all the time. Oh, he's talking about Final Fantasy. He's basically saying that's the purpose Alphinaud serves to the story. Yeah. And I was like, yes, that is what this game needs, because all the characters just fight with each other constantly. And there is no, like, the closest you get to a voice of reason is Groot, but he has to get translated through Rocket. If Guardians had one character that just refocused everybody and kept them from bickering all the time, it would be way more palatable.
Huh. I can totally see this. I feel bad that it's making you jump off, because I don't know. I think there's more there. And, the irony is this one, the awards for best writing, and it's the thing that's eating your cheese the most. I just think that's hilarious.
It's just too much. Like, it's not that it's bad writing. It's just too much of it. Like, spread out or cut some of the lamer jokes. Like, it just tries a little too hard. Just try a little less, and I would be okay with it. It just needs a little less. Just like I said, if there is a genuine meter that just lets everybody shut up for a little bit, I would probably love the hell out of this game.
Yeah,
but it is
go to their forums and submit that feedback.
I really thought about writing my second Dear Martha review on Steam and reading a review from me and posting it up on that, and it would have just been about like that game, but I was like, it's gonna be 100 pages long of me complaining about this.
Yeah,
it does exist in games. In Wild Rift, there's you can turn off the you can make a verbose announcer, or an announcer that doesn't announce every single thing. So
it could happen.
We have the technology.
Yeah, I think you could maintain the general tenor of the game and keep the jokes you want to keep and whatever without the constant conversation.
Just like the narratively important things, and cut out the
I think that's fine.
The pitter patter in the level, I guess.
Ooh, hand sanitizer in the chat has a good point. I don't want to hear any John reviews that aren't that old lady voice. That would be the only way.
Yeah, just all my game reviews will be in that voice.
Yeah,
really soften my edge on it.
Yeah.
So I quit that pretty quick on stream, and I played Deathloop instead.
Oh yeah, Deathloop.
I finally got more time in that. And I think I still have the same problem that I had the last time with it, which is I think that game's really cool and I think that game's really good. I'm not 100% sure I'm in the mood to play it though.
Yeah.
Yet. It's got this very specific thing it's asking you to do. And I'm having a hard time having the patience for it because it wants to, like, on paper, the concept is cool. You're in the span of a day. You have objectives that you need to go. They kind of give you an open world to play in. And if you die, you restart at the beginning of the loop, but you've acquired any knowledge about how the world works, where to go, and what to do to carry into your next run.
Yeah.
That's a neat idea, but it requires a lot of thinking and thought being put into stuff. And I think I'm in there. I mean, especially for me, because I always play stealthy, and I was playing run and gun, which maybe tells you everything about my patience level for being really thoughtful and cerebral about what I was doing. I was just like, kick open the door, shoot everybody. That's the best way to play it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite getting it. It wasn't doing a good enough job of clearly telling me where to go and what to do, and I was being a bad player and not looking into it properly. But the gameplay there is really fun. I get why this game is getting so much praise, because the way it plays, the things you can do in it, the multiple ways you can approach problems and things like that is really neat. I got to a spot where there was clearly something behind this door that I wanted to open, but it required 4 batteries. And I had a feeling that there was like a series of puzzles I needed to solve and would be able to get a battery from each one and be able to plug it into the door. But I was like, you know what? I know where there are a lot of batteries. It just requires a little, like, running.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just brute force it. And the game totally let me do that, and then gave me an awesome gun for doing it, and then let me run around and use that awesome gun. But the problem is because I wasn't really paying attention to what the game was telling me to do, I then had no idea where to go with my awesome gun.
Yeah.
And I kind of got stuck.
Yeah.
So it's a game that wants you to do the reading. It wants you to read the dossiers and plan out your day and plan out what you're going to do. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the game asking you to do that. It's not for me at the moment.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing I have to be a very specific mood for. That's partly why I'm nervous to finally start the Obra Dinn game. What's the full name?
The Return of the
Obra Dinn. Yeah, I've been wanting to play that because I got back into his Papers, Please game, and I thought I never did play this follow-up, and everyone freaking loved that and wouldn't stop talking about it. But it's one of those things you just described, maybe even more so. I gotta pick up a lot of paper and read it, and remember that I read this, and then it's like, do I have the brain power for this right now? I don't know if I do. So I get it. I totally get that feeling. But yeah, that game is one I want to get back to as well at some point and play Deathloop myself. You finished Final Fantasy V. I thought you finished that last week. No,
I was getting close.
Okay,
but I decided to finally finish it. I did. That's it. I don't really have a lot to say. It's a really good one.
Yeah.
Those pixel remasters continue to be awesome and highly recommended. So, if you've never played it, it's very different, like a lot of those early Final Fantasies. And 6 is coming out this month at some point. So I'm looking forward to that. That's a big one because that's a lot of people's favorite, and it's probably one I've played the least amount of. So that one's going to be really exciting to me because it's almost 100% new, and by all accounts,
it's a super long campaign.
Is it?
Although I'm sure it'll be much shorter because of auto battling. But
right. But is it? Was that the first one?
Fantastic.
Was that still a SNES game? I don't remember.
Yeah, that's still SNES era.
But Final Fantasy 3 was just very epic in scope. Like, I would say, without the auto battling, Final Fantasy 7 was almost smaller in scope, I think.
Interesting.
I'm not actually sure, but Final Fantasy 7 had a large scope, but 6 is pretty involving. Without spoiling anything, it's got a lot of game in it.
It's Satan Slurpee. The way it works in those, John, correct me if I'm wrong. He's asking about menu combat. You still have all the options to do manual combat you want, but you can turn on a mode that basically does the grindy combat for you, And you can interrupt any time, right? And just take over.
The auto battler, you press a button. It basically goes into fast forward. So it speeds up the game. And basically, as far as the menu goes, you will just execute whatever command you did last.
Yeah.
So it speeds up the random encounters. Like if you get into a fight where all you do is like, I'm going to tell all 4 of my characters to attack.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to do. And they're overpowered for the area they're in. So there's no reason for me to do magic or have to be tactical or anything like that. So you just play with that turned on. And as a result, your characters will just attack nonstop. But you still do have to be tactical. If you get into like a big fight where, you need to be doing other things, the auto battler isn't smart. It's not going to know to heal you or anything like that. You have to still input those commands and play as normal. It just speeds up repetitive choices.
Right. That makes sense. I think I haven't heard anybody complain about that. People like it.
No, it's a really
especially because you can turn it off entirely if you want. So it's not like you have. Yeah,
you don't ever have to turn it on. It's a completely optional thing.
All right. Well, more on 6 next week. Bo still cranking it in Valheim. Iron Age.
Yep.
Ooh, what do you got going there?
Well, it just means I have iron ore, so it sort of represents the type of metal you get is the sort of progression, I guess. So now that I'm mining iron, I have iron armor rather than bronze armor. And yeah, I'm still messing around in the swamp. It's fun. I've been playing a lot with Mike and Crofton. Yeah. So it's been more often a multiplayer deal. And it's just insane. Valheim's the real metaverse, honestly, because like we played last night and everyone's like, okay, I'm going to bed. And I was like, oh, okay. So I stayed in, and our first shack where we've moved to the main cabin still existed, and we were using it as an armory, but I'm like, but it doesn't look proper. So I tore the whole thing down and built the proper barn, and that took 2 hours. I was like, I should be going to bed. So it really is the metaverse, and it's camping metaverse in the sense that, it's fun to build buildings you need for your camping trip out to the forest to get iron and slay monsters. Yeah. So I've been getting endless enjoyment out of this game. It feels like the way you would want an MMO to work.
Yeah.
But would never work. So you only get the small multiplayer because, it's so much fun cutting down trees. Because the trees fall and then they're gone. But you can replant the trees. Like, you have a lot of agency. It's not that it's open world. It's that there's a lot of molding of the world that you can do. And then other people can see you mold the world. Yeah. Like, in a way that I question. It's not that it won't be available in something like a metaverse or something, but it has these game rules of, like, you're in a forest. So it's cutting down trees and processing ore, and, like, when you dig out a pile of rock, it's gone forever. There's this kind of sense that there's this organic persistence to the world that matters to more than just you, but to the people you're playing with. That playing multiplayer gets really fun. Yeah. Anyway, so I've been really enjoying this experience quite a bit, and honestly, the game's not fully out yet, and I'm like, you guys, I don't want to run out of content. Release all the stuff.
Yeah, give it all to you now.
Because there's an objective, right? Is mastering the next biome, defeating the next boss. So everything also has a meaning, I guess, which is so these games often don't. They leave it to you for the meaning, but I like that there's some structure to it.
You ever had a tree kill you? Because that happened to me. I got killed by
I've had a tree fall on me for sure.
Yeah, that sucked.
I've had lots of stuff. I fell off. I was doing roofing, and then I didn't eat any food, so I just jumped off the ladder and died. That happened last night.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I lose 5% of my skills. Like, there's a cost to doing that. It's not just like, oh, you died, haha. It's like, oh no, I've lost levels in the stuff I was working on. Shit.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful when you're roofing. That's the lesson.
And
but it doesn't feel so punishing that I'm like, don't want to play. I'm like, whatever. It's just a couple percent points less of damage. Who cares?
Yeah. Ziggurat says they're pretty close to being done. Maybe a couple more biomes. That's what I heard as well. So I think they're close.
No, there's still quite a bit. So the one thing is that, like, this released a year ago.
Has it been a year?
There's been updates, but there's been no new biomes. So the Mistlands are coming soon. There are 3 missing biomes, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
The Mistlands, the Deep North, and the Ashlands, which is the southern part of the map. Yeah. The map is huge, by the way. It is humongous.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is ginormous. Like the actual procedurally generated play area is like massive.
Yeah, it reminds me. That part reminds me of an MMO too, because it just seems like the scope is that big.
I mean, it's more massive than an MMO would be, because an MMO on some level wants you to be able to get to your quest hubs and do things. Like this is just like no, it's the actual size of like a planet. Like, they're not really they're not really concerned about you getting to quest hubs, because there are no quest hubs. It's just endless terrain, and there's something about discovering new terrain, even though you're like, I've seen this biome 100 times before, I haven't seen this configuration of trees. And like, I've walked into valleys and been like, this is a beautiful valley, I want to build a cottage here.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's a damn video game, why am I feeling this way about this game? But I do. So
I want a creative mode. Are they planning on that? Because I don't want to go in there and fight.
I saw it in an FAQ. There's no plans now as they're releasing the main game, but there is a console mode where you can just God mode yourself and spawn resources. So think Doom, when you press the tilde button, you get, you can console thing is. It's not, doesn't have mod support, but it's definitely moddable. So you could also work in mods if you wanted to get a creative mode. Yeah. And I think they've said long term they'll probably add a creative mode to the game. So I think I think
that'd be great, because I'm just not in the mood to. I don't know. I'm not in the mood for all the survival bits. But I do kind of like, I like chopping shit down and building things. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's it's fun. It's great. I play it. That's my only game I've been playing. Like the past 3 weeks on Core, I've been playing Wild Rift and Valheim. That's it. Like,
yeah, that's all right.
I'm sated. This is an amazing game. I love it.
That's good. You also made platinum in Wild Rift.
Yeah. So I'm now playing ranked pretty much consistently in Wild Rift, and I made platinum in the ranked mode, so I'm happy.
Nice.
No one should ever feel bad like being bad at this game. There are so many. The first like 2 tiers, there's so many people that just make other people feel bad.
Yeah.
Now that I've gotten to platinum, it's like I've achieved something, because people don't like rage and get 10 deaths and blame other people. Like I'm in sort of that sweet spot where people that you play with are reasonable. They'll give you crap still, but like it's way less toxic and not as bad. So I'm actually pretty happy now, because the main mode is filled with a lot of bots. There's a lot of bots in that game, so it's actually the best place to play. Is at least the normal game is in ranked and higher skill. So
sure.
And I wanted to also just mention it briefly, because again, I have a core guild in there. We have 6 members. We got like Kissy Bears and Ryan Murphy's in there, and there's a guy called I Kill a Kill, which is sweet. I like Kill a Kill, so it's a cool name. Some other folks. So we got 6 people. There's some like guild rewards and stuff like that. So if you are playing Wild Rift, even just a little bit, just search for it. I made it public. And like a whole bunch of the unwashed mashes are not trying to get in. So I was concerned about making it public. I wanted to be invite. Yeah. But no, you can just publicly join. So like just join up in the guild. There's like rewards to get. And then I'm hoping to do some group stuff, because some of it, they've got a pretty complex mobile style thing, but it doesn't require any purchases. So it's really just there to get you logged in playing with your friends. Yeah. So, if you want to earn cool rewards with the core community on there, I play pretty much every day before bed.
There's stuff on we got anything in the Discord about this on our Discord channel?
No, cool. Like whenever I link, it just links to the website, and everyone's like, I can't do it. So it's like it's kind of broken, or like Riot, like they need to fix that, because there's a share guild button, just like Discord is like there's a share Discord, but it takes people to the website and they still can't find things.
Oh.
So just go to the, apply for guild. It's open to the public. You got to apply still, but I'll see it. I'm in there often. The tag is XCoreX, not core, because it was taken. So it's little X, big core.
Someone took it, core. Those bastards.
Yeah, I mean, core is, I had a Ben & Jerry's that said core on it. I mean, it's, common enough word for people to use, but
it still makes me mad when people do it, because I like our name.
But just search for it. It's there. And I'm hoping to do some GVG or some guild games as well. So.
Nice. All right. Well, this is all good news. Very good.
Those are my games. That's what I played.
Check it out. All right, then. That brings us to the part of the show where we read a quick email.
That's a good question.
This is an email from Steve Radke. He lives in Texas, and I hope he's safe from this horrible storm that everybody's getting hit with down there, and I hope it's not nearly as bad as last year. He sent this email to talktothecore@gmail.com. Says, gentlemen, help me out here. This is a great topic for the game, because we just talked about Valheim. I really like the open world games like Skyrim and New World. The one thing in common with them is that they make me feel like in order to excel at the game, I need to craft. Well, that's especially true of New World. I don't want to craft, he says. Maybe if they had just one bench and all of the ingredients and all the recipes in one place, I might tolerate it. But I don't want to, though. Can you suggest a game kind of like these, but with no crafting? I just want to follow a story and kill shit and then get better weapons. Let me know if you come up with anything. I have all of the gaming systems except for the elusive PS5. It can be on any console other than PC. Or PC, rather. Sorry.
I don't. Was Skyrim, is crafting necessary in Skyrim?
No.
I just steal everything.
No, I would
No,
say
I didn't do any crafting in Skyrim.
Yeah, I didn't do any.
Crafting had some
I
cool
would
stuff.
say, like, if you like Skyrim, don't craft things. just refuse to craft things. Like,
Yeah.
steal it and make deals with the what are those guys called?
The
devilly guys.
The
What are
brother, uncle, brotherhood. What was it?
they? The Oblivion dudes.
Draugr.
The Draugr. Drower.
No,
Dower.
is that the Oblivion guys? Not the.
Yeah.
You're thinking of the Dwemer, which are the underground elves, not those guys, but
No.
the red
Thinking
Oblivion
of the
dudes.
Draugr.
Draugr.
Duragar.
They are
Draugr.
No, Draugrs are the zombies in the caves. I'm talking about like
Durga.
the Oblivion
Daedra.
guys. Daedra, that's it.
Daedra.
Yeah, thank you. Jeez, I haven't heard the word Draugr so many times. It's such a short
Bo's
time.
just
Everyone's
losing
like,
patience with us.
You
He's
guys, you guys are like zombies banging your head and
Yeah.
banging.
You
your
know
head
what it
against the
reminded
wall
me
of
of?
vocabulary.
It was like John doing
Draugr.
John was doing what he hates about that Guardians game. He was literally doing it. We were recreating the Guardians.
That felt like Wordle tactics right there. By the way.
just trying the same word over and over again. Surely the game's wrong.
Yeah, it must be the game.
Thank you, Ziggurat. The Daedra. So you can just make deals with Daedra or steal the shit, and you'll get good weapons that way. Like, some of the best weapons, in fact. So I just say Skyrim, not a crafting game. Valheim, you have to craft. I don't know about New World.
You don't have to in New World, but you kind of do have to. What am I saying? You do have to.
No, you absolutely
Yeah,
have to. The
you have
intro
to.
quests have you craft stuff immediately.
Yeah. So maybe later you
I
can
saw
be
someone
less,
say
but-
Witcher 3. That's not a bad
Oh,
choice. Crafting
yeah.
feels pretty optional in that, but there
And
is
it's got
some,
Gwent.
a little bit.
That's-
Does
yeah.
have
The only-
Gwent.
Yeah.
I think if you want to go more to the survival side, less RPG, No Man's Sky crafting is.
There's a lot of crafting in that.
Is there?
Yeah. I tried to play with Mike. I played it with Mike and Crofton, and they were like, "This game's great." And then we got into you have to make this, and you have to take this card. And they're like, "This is a crafting game," and they were all like,
That's
"Meh."
true. Yeah, that's true. That's
They
true.
were were kind of whiny about it. Except we played Valheim, and they like, "Oh, I like this crafting, but not that crafting," which is something you should also consider. That Mike and Crofton were both reacted badly when they realized No Man's Sky was a crafting game, and they weren't as incentivized to play it. But they're playing a ton of Valheim. They harass. They tell me just to turn my computer on so they can play, even if I can't. They're just
Oh,
like,
'cause
turn your
yours
computer
were
on so we
the-
log into the server, and I'm like, no, I'm busy. I'm watching Star Wars or something. It's so not all crafting is equal. So I don't. If you're just like for sure you don't like crafting, but sometimes we think we know things about ourselves that we don't know. Like I'm very shocked that I'm playing Valheim. I'm not a survival game player, and it's very fun. So a lot of it has to do with the design and
I agree with that.
the way it's done. Does Zelda have crafting in it? Because if you haven't
Some.
played Legend, I own it and I still have yet to play it.
You're talking
But
about.
I hear that's a great open world adventure game.
Well, that one, if you're talking about Breath of the Wild, that one probably has
Breath
more
of the Wild,
crafting
Breath of the
than
Wild.
any of them do. Like most Zelda games, there's not a lot of crafting, but in that game, definitely there is some, but it's not overwhelming, and you don't really have to do. I mean, I don't know, the food, I guess. The weapons you don't craft, unfortunately. Not really.
Oh, what was the Immortals Phoenix Rising?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
that
Zelda.
game.
There's no real crafting in that. There's a little bit if you want to get into potions and stuff.
Yeah,
but
and
it's
Play
cosmetics.
Valhalla.
Yeah.
Valhalla's great open. Like it's Assassin's Creed, but it didn't feel very Assassin's Creedy all that much to me. It felt like Viking game.
It's a big it's a big adventure Viking game, yeah. I agree
Yeah,
with that.
that's a good open world game. Yakuza games, yeah. Yakuza games don't have crafting, but they have requisite mini games, which I'm not sure is much better of a solution. I spent so much time running the hostess place as was it Mojima? Goro Mojima.
Yeah.
You know,
Drugger.
most of my game, half of my game time was just playing a mini game to get all my hostesses up to S tier or whatever it was, so they earn the maximum money from men.
Yeah.
And then I went, what am I doing? There's got to be a better game to play than this.
Majima. That's what it is. So I was gonna just at least suggest if you were leaning at all toward an MMO with that, there's no subscription fee. In fact, one of the reasons that you would get the optional subscription fee for Elder Scrolls Online is so that you could have an endless bag for things to craft with. So there is crafting in the game, 0% required, like in most MMOs. You don't have to craft in WoW either. So if you want cool weapons and leveling up and getting better shit and cooler gear, that game does that, and you don't pay monthly for it. So,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, what other open world games that have craft, like Red Dead Redemption? You're probably good there.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there are times. There's stuff in there though.
Big name game. Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to do the Ubisoft thing. I'm trying to think of there's lots of open world games, but I guess he's looking for a recommendation from us, and this is hard for me because I don't normally play too many open world games.
I'm a big open world guy.
I would say Skyrim is great.
Skyrim is great. Yeah, if you like what they're doing in Skyrim, you really like what they're doing in ESO. It just feels like an extension of that. So, if you're sick of that or played it, or overplayed it, or whatever, maybe it's time to move on to that. Good luck. And if you have thoughts at home, John, did you say? I don't even know if I let you get in there edgewise.
Said a few. I think like going for more adventure games would probably be good. Immortals, Phoenix Rising, stuff like that isn't a bad way to go. Like Bo said, Assassin's Creed, not a bad way to go either. But
Ghosts of Tsushima.
Ghosts of doesn't have PS5.
Ghosts of Daedra.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But Horizon Zero Dawn, I guess, is on PC, so that's an option.
Tsushima is awesome because Tsushima doesn't have any crafting, but there are. Wait, hold on. Is that true?
Horizon does have crafting.
I mean, they do. You do go back to but Horizon's a lot like it's real simple stuff. Like, you got a bunch of trees and you need arrows. So
that new God of War doesn't have crafting in it.
No.
Is that open world?
Yeah, sort of. Mostly.
That's mostly linear.
It's like a world. It's like it's got a hub area that connects to a lot of things, and there are
it's like open world, open light. Open world
light, yeah. I would say that's true. There's lots of those, but it sounds like out of all these, he'll have some ideas. And if anyone at home,
MMO, crafting's always optional.
Always optional. MMOs, all of them, even the good ones.
Most of the time, it's worse. Like if you play World of Warcraft, you're getting your gear from crafting. It's not the best gear.
No, that's what I hated about it.
From raids and dungeons and stuff.
That's what I hated about crafting in that game was. In any MMO, actually, is you're never going to get the best stuff by crafting.
It was good for like 1 hour when you hit max level and you can make the item like a slightly higher item level, and then your dungeon gear paces it, and it's like, okay.
We definitely don't need to get into it, but Final Fantasy XIV has a solution for that.
They do, but we don't have to get into it.
But yes, Final Fantasy XIV is a good option. ESO is a good option, and honestly, World of Warcraft is probably a decent option.
I only today learned why it's a good option. Like it took me a long time. I basically on stream admitted there was a whole part of the game I was completely ignoring, and I got schooled by my own chat and learned, even though I got a max level character, that I was ignoring something pretty important.
Well, I noticed your Ben is always the guy I look to for. Is somebody crafting somewhere? No, not Ben.
No, Ben's
not Ben.
Big on crafting.
Who am I thinking of? Somebody in our circles always tweets about crafting. Oh, it's Brian. Ro. I was always talking about it.
Yeah.
Brian.
Ro does.
Yeah, Ro's like, I'm now a level 800 freaking bug pusher or whatever the hell it is.
Bug pusher.
Or something weird.
All those amazing crafting jobs like Bug Pusher.
Like Bug Pusher, BP. It's the BP of the game. Anyway, we'd love to hear your feedback and thoughts. Any other questions you guys might have, talktothecore@gmail.com. That's going to probably do it for the show. Hey, real quick reminder, if you like what we do here, it's so easy to sign up for our Patreon, and it's like a new month, so it's a perfect time to do it. You get great rewards. Well, you do, because this week, for 300, we celebrated, and I gave you the free bonus stuff, which is like a whole other 30-minute show, as you already know. Well, maybe you don't know quite yet, but you will soon. You'll hear that and go, oh, man, I can get this every week? Hell yeah, you can. So check it out, patreon.com/core show. I might even have a couple of people to name. Yeah, I'm gonna. Thanks to Ryan Osika, Zach Rohifs. I hope I got that right. And Greg.
Writers of Rohifs to me.
Rohifs. Also, Greg Trent. He's also one. You guys are awesome, and I'll mention more of you next week. But please keep being rad. And for those who haven't yet, give us a shot. We'd love it. All right. Frogpants.com/core is our website, and you can always find us on Twitter, CorePod, John_Jagger, Scott Johnson, and of course, Bo Schwartz. We can't leave without a little bit of word of wisdom from our co-hosts. Let's start with John.
I know a lot of people out there like me and mildly visually impaired and wear the glasses, and that can sometimes be a bit of a hassle. But remember what we learned here today. At least you're safe from vampirism.
Very well said. Bo, what would you add to that?
Don't take any moist nickels.
Nope.
Don't accept any moist
I
nickels.
agree. Don't accept moist nickels.
Oh, Jesus.
Or that's the reaction you'll have. All right. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all for listening, watching, and hanging out with us. We'll be back next time with more. We'll see you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
We really pulled a boner on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I almost yelled at moist nickels during